CJ here, live at the DC Black Film Festival 2019, and I am here with
Steven St. Pierre.
your movie, Cory. How, like I said, it's always on the actors to kind of convey your material and such. How did you come about this story? I guess just starting out, because I mean, it is a story that we've seen in different avenues, TV, movies, and things. So I guess, well, let me rephrase that. How did you go about it to where it's not the usual thing that we normally see all the time?
Yeah, so Cory is about a young dad, whose wife battles drug addiction as he fights to protect his daughter and stop the cycle. So, like you said, we see a lot of stories with the drug abuser or the person who's victim of the addiction, and we see their journey and their story of recovery and setbacks and and things like that. Growing up in the crack epidemic, like late '80s, early '90s, I had friends that I played ball with, basketball practice. Their families, mom, dad is there rooting them on. Flash forward months later, I'm seeing my friend's mother in the streets begging me for money as a 9-year old so that she can go, like re up. So those images kind of came crashing back to my mind when I decided to write a story of my own. Being an actor. First, I wanted to write something, that I can act in. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? I think showing it from the other side of the table would be interesting, because you never really see stories where the family and showing what they're going through now that their loved one is out of the home. How do they cope with it and what struggles are they going through now being a single parent essentially. So that was the genesis of me telling that story.
Yeah, because most oftentimes, because like I said, you're coming from the single dad approach and stuff, which I'm not gonna say it's rare to see, but when you see it, it's like, okay, it's always like, where's the mom at? Like, it's all the time, it's like, where's the mom at? Like, he's just single and dead, the mom just dead or whatever and stuff. Like, because 9 times out of 10, normally the mom is dead, she's just gone. So I like your approach where it's like, oh, the mom is still out on the streets doing whatever and stuff. So was there ever a thing of like 'cause clearly you show him being very vulnerable, and that's kind of like a big thing in the black community. Of like you're not supposed to be vulnerable as a man. So now that you see him being vulnerable, being a single dad, and dealing with all that stuff, was it kind of easy for you to just put that out there without really caring?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat personal, like you said. Growing up as a young black man, that's what you're told, right? You got to be tough. You got to be the one holding it down. Yeah, man up. Don't cry. This that, and other. And I went through that personally, right? As a kid, um, you know, as a kid, you always get teased. You're little. I got a gap. So I got it all. That actually, like, sharpened my comedic ability because, I had to snap back. Yeah, you can't just let them come at you. But it did toughen me up to a point where I went through a lot of life just being so guarded and not vulnerable. And then when I started acting, it started to open that back up. It got back to that side of me where it's like, no, you can feel, you can have emotion. It's all right. Real men cry. So it's all good. Yeah. So at that point, making the film, I've already kind of found that in myself that allowed me to be able to do that on camera with this character, much more easily and show, whomever watches this, I hope that it gets to a lot of people that we go through stuff, as black men, and it's all right to let it out, and that's the only way you'll be able to fight through it. Because you hold that in, that poison sits inside you, and you really, it's hard to function off of that, So letting that out and being able to just kind of like move forward, get past it, like, all right, I let that out, my head is cleared, now I can go ahead and attack and find a solution for my problems.
Yeah. So being a director, but also kind of having to do the acting as well. Was it easy for you to kind of like, all right, I can direct, but you also have somebody clearly behind the camera, obviously. So was it easy for you to kind of like do both at the same time?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't. You know what? And I learned a lot of lessons doing this film, right? Because this is actually my first short film. So yeah, so it was a lot of things that I've learned on the job, and that's one of them. Is I actually had an easier time directing the film because when I wrote it and decided I was going to direct it, I really got so like I got so in love with the process of creating it from ground zero to trying to see it through to finish. So I wanted to make sure that I did it right as a director, casting the right actors, getting the right locations, everything like that. So I put so much focus into directing that I forgot to take care of myself as an actor, right? And that was the whole point of me doing it, and that's not what happened. So that is one thing that definitely, if there's any kind of advice when it comes to doing both, is remember to take care of yourself as an
I
actor.
mean, honestly, I couldn't tell watching this. I was like, Oh, it's actually pretty good. It's like, all right,
Thanks,
fine.
I
Like, I mean,
appreciate it.
that,
And,
cause
there's
I
like
mean,
little things,
yeah,
for myself that I see. Obviously, you're your own toughest critic,
yeah.
so you see that. But I appreciate that,
Yeah,
though.
because I mean, your average audience member, they're watching it, they're not going to notice that intricacies compared to, like you said, you're a director, so you're going to notice that. Audience members like, man, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, what can you do and stuff.
And part of that, not saying it was easy, but I guess that part of it came because I knew the story so well, having written it. So I think that's where the acting, where I didn't have to put so much focus into it, that it kind of just organically happened because I was already that character
Yeah,
for months, reading the script, rewriting it, uh, workshopping it, reading it. So I already knew like this Cory in and out. Like I knew him. So that's where I guess maybe what you see, but there's still little things where I just like, I wish I just did another take and got just this little thing changed up in it. But it's all good.
yeah. We were talking to one of the other directors, and they were saying that they were doing kind of like improv, kind of activities with their actors and stuff to kind of get a connection. So, did you kind of do variations of that, or was it just kind of like, all right, we're just gonna, you read the script, I read the script, let's just do this?
The script is basically what we shot. So exactly the script is what we shot. What we did prior to shooting was a rehearsal brunch.
Okay.
So in the film, I have a wife and a daughter, and obviously they aren't my wife and daughter.
Yeah.
That's not my real
You
family.
gotta establish that right at the top.
Exactly. So we went to a diner. Sat down as a little family, the three of us, as her father watched from the from the corners, and then we just acted like we were a real family. We just talked, talked about school, just talked about like vacationing, what we want to do next month, go away as if we were a real family. So that's where the improv kind of got incorporated with just kind of like, pretending and acting like we were actual family, so that it can translate on film.
Okay, cool. So going forward after this and stuff, like I said, your first project and stuff, and like I said, lessons learned and stuff. Are you still wanting to continue kind of doing these kind of dramatic things, or are you kind of moving into more like comedy or maybe small action? Maybe don't know. I mean, what are you kind of leaning in the direction of?
Yeah, my next short is actually not as heavy dramatically as this one, um, and it's a little bit of a thrilling action drama. So when it comes to film and TV, I mostly do drama, but I get my comedic fix on stage. I do like improv and sketch acting and things like that. But for some reason, people just book me for dramatic roles. I guess I have that face or something. I don't know what it is. Yeah, like these furrowed brows. Like, oh yeah, he could play thug number two in my film. But so I basically whatever just speaks to me, I just write and want to tell a story. So whether it be drama or comedy, I'm comfortable with both. But when you're starting out to try to crack into the industry, you kind of gotta find something to get in the door with before you start to spread your wings. So drama, I'm focusing on that right now.
Ah, cool. Well, thank you for taking time to talk to us. Like I said, great film. Like I said, it hits that emotional balance. Like I think that's been the theme actually for this whole film festival. It's like people just hitting you in the feels, just like it's like, what is this? This is us now? Like Jesus, you know? So but yeah, thank you for taking time to talk to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem. CJ out.